participating in a slow variety show with a top-tier celebrity. When it came to my ex-boyfriend, I said, "He's my role model." The A-list star chuckled softly. "Then sis, when are you going to take your role model out of the blacklist? He's almost getting moldy there." The host looked shocked, and the bullet comments on the live stream instantly went wild. The audience exclaimed, "A straightforward guy like him deserves to have a wife."
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
Just after I got my master's degree in psychology, my professor landed me a big job. A live, streaming, slow-paced variety show about emotions, Listen to Your Heart, invited me to be an emotional liaison. I would live and eat with the celebrity guests for a month. Usually, I would just chat with them and give some appropriate guidance on emotional issues. To put it bluntly, I was just a gimmick to make the show seem more high-end, almost like a background prop or a mascot. I had checked the list of celebrity guests in advance, and the name I was worried about wasn't on it. With few on-screen appearances, high pay, and the chance to pursue my celebrity crush at public expense, it was like a pie falling from the sky. I was so happy that I posted a Weibo to celebrate that night. But less than a day after I posted it, it became a hot topic on the trending list, and I saw the name I was afraid to see on the show's guest list, David. The A-list star David liked a commoner's Weibo. David is a newly emerged top-tier star, developing in the fields of film, television, and music, and topping the popularity charts across the internet. And that commoner whose Weibo was liked is me. If it was just a like, it wouldn't be a big deal. People might think David was promoting the show, Listen to Your Heart. The key thing was that someone dug out that David and I had couple avatars on Weibo. The CP-loving souls of netizens instantly ignited, and they were having a great time shipping us in the comments section. David's avatar is so rare. You can't even find it by searching. Before seeing Amy's avatar, I didn't even know David's avatar was a couple one. Anyway, I don't believe it's a coincidence. An A-list star and his commoner girlfriend. This is so shippable. What should I do? I've already imagined 3 TV dramas in my head. I'll mark this. I bet a pack of spicy strips that they're really a couple. I'll come back to fulfill my promise then. David and I had couple avatars that he drew by himself back then. They were unique on the whole internet. Usually, I don't use Weibo much, and I had long forgotten about the avatar. But I never expected that David hadn't changed it either. Since things ended so badly between us, he surely didn't want others to know about our relationship. Fortunately, we didn't have any interactions. I comforted myself that the internet updates so fast, and this matter would soon be forgotten. On the day the show started, I arrived on time. With no makeup on, I sat in the corner, quietly watching the handsome men and beautiful women in the distance competing for attention, fully aware of my role as a mascot. The host briefly introduced me and then dropped a bombshell. There was a mysterious guest who had joined the show temporarily and was about to arrive. Let's look forward to it. This move immediately livened up the atmosphere, and the bullet comments filled the screen. After the guests took their seats, everyone was guessing who the mysterious guest could be, who could manage to squeeze into the show on the very first day. Since I was always busy with my studies, I wasn't very familiar with these stars. But I had an impression of the girl surrounded by everyone. Sophia, a popular rising starlet. She had co-starred with the newly emerged top-tier star David in a movie not long ago and gained a lot of CP fans. When the camera panned over, as soon as we were on the same screen, the bullet comments erupted in a heated discussion. Goddess Sophia is off the market again. They're so close without makeup. Amy's looks can't even compare to Sophia's. How could David like her? I really don't understand what those people who ship the couple with the couple avatars are thinking. Exactly. Obviously, the Sophia-David couple is the real deal and the most well-matched. But I think Amy looks really pretty even without makeup. She'll look even better with makeup. Why compare a commoner with a star? In the middle of the topic discussion, Sophia suddenly said, "Could the mysterious guest be David?" Someone joked, "Sophia, you called David so affectionately. It seems you're very close to him in private." Sophia shyly turned her head away, like a young girl with a crush whose secret had been exposed. As soon as David's name was mentioned, my heart couldn't help but tighten. But then I thought, since I had already come to participate in the show, David definitely wouldn't come, and he didn't have the schedule. Thinking of this, I gradually relaxed. The other guests also expressed their opinions one after another, thinking it was unlikely to be David. Given David's popularity, coming to participate in this show would be a complete downgrade for him, and there was no need for it. This live streaming show was recorded in the countryside away from the hustle and bustle. In a short while, the mysterious guest had arrived at the courtyard gate. To keep the stars in the same frame, the host arranged for me to go and greet the guest, and the cameraman automatically turned the camera towards the gate. I gently opened the door, and a tall figure came into view. The person was nearly 1.9 meters tall, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, wearing black sunglasses and a black mask, exuding a cold aura. The other guests all stared wide-eyed and carefully identified him, but I recognized him as David at a glance. At that moment, it seemed that all the blood in my body froze for a second. Why was he here? Before I could even be shocked, I was suddenly pulled into a warm embrace, and a faint fragrance wafted into my nostrils. "Baby, I miss you so much." The low voice was only audible to the two of us. Had he forgotten that this was a live stream? I watched with my own eyes as the cameraman's eyes widened like bells, and the host's mouth opened wide enough to stuff an egg in. I guessed my expression was probably similar. The embrace ended as soon as it started. David took off his mask and sunglasses, and the celebrity guests gathered around to welcome him. Just as we were all looking tense, still in shock from the hug just now and not knowing how to start talking, David suddenly burst out laughing. Just a greeting. Everyone immediately felt relieved and laughed harmoniously, praising David for being so warm-hearted and having no airs at all. The bullet comments were flooding the screen. Just a greeting? I don't believe it. Who hugs a stranger when greeting them? There must be something between him and Amy. Hey, David said it was just a greeting. Why do you guys have to interpret it? He came all the way here. He must be here for Sophia. Could it be for a commoner? What are you being so snobbish about? What's wrong with being a commoner? It's like you're not a commoner yourself. After David came, all the members were present. The celebrity guests sat around drinking tea and chatting, while I sat opposite the guests with the host. Sophia sat next to David in the middle, her eyes glued to him all the time. The bullet comments kept scrolling. David traveled thousands of miles for love. Sophia's eyes are full of concern. This is a two-way love, and the Sophia-David couple is a perfect match. To promote the mutual understanding among the guests and highlight the characteristics of the emotional variety show, the host kept throwing out various topics and let us speak freely. The first topic was encouragement. The host enthusiastically greeted me. Appropriate encouragement can bring warmth and strength to people. Ms. Amy, could you give us a demonstration? Praise Mr. David. The camera turned to me and David. David raised his eyes and stared straight at me, with deep affection and concentration. His long and thick eyelashes trembled slightly, and he looked incredibly handsome. My mind went blank instantly, and all my knowledge turned into bubbles that I couldn't grasp. Words like extremely handsome, suave and debonair, kind-hearted and beautiful, both intelligent and brave were on the tip of my tongue, but what came out was, well, I grew up watching your shows. Everyone at the table was stunned. The host asked, which role of Mr. David's does Ms. Amy like the most? I said, David once played a wolf dog, and he was really immersive. The atmosphere was silent for a moment. The host secretly nudged me and whispered, David has a bad temper, and playing a dog is his dark history. Don't mention it. Everyone was also looking astonished, but David slightly curled his lips, his eyes and eyebrows full of smiles. He gently opened his mouth, breaking the silence, and his voice was lingering and ambiguous. Thank you, baby. I feel so warm. The familiar doting tone made my heart tremble. The bullet comments filled the screen. Ha ha ha, Ms. Amy really has a talent for complimenting people. David played so many cool and handsome roles, and all Ms. Amy just remembers is the dog. Why do I feel the atmosphere between the two of them is strange? But it's inexplicably shippable. I'm a long-time fan of David, and it's the first time I've seen him smile so gently. David, do you still remember you're an idol? I don't want to ship them either, but their Weibo avatars are couple avatars, and he called her baby. Who can understand? The fans thought David's reaction would be that of a domineering president getting angry and retorting forcefully. But actually David's face was all smiles. Like, baby, come closer. The host didn't expect David to react like this and laughed twice to ease the embarrassment. A highly educated person is really humorous, haha. The following topics were more emotional. Sophia told her struggling experiences and burst into tears on the spot. Finally, she raised her head, sobbed and squeezed out a sweet smile, looking at David. But I'm also very lucky to have met so many wonderful people, like David, who has always been silently supporting me behind the scenes. The bullet comments were flooding the screen. Heartbreaking. The Sophia-David couple has really come a long way together. What does that commoner think she is? She dares to challenge our Sophia. Does she deserve it? With the deep affection between David and Sophia, can she steal him away? Is David going to give Sophia a hug to comfort her? During the speech, David remained expressionless the whole time, and finally, his tone even carried a hint of impatience. Are you done? Sophia was stunned and nodded. Just at this moment, when no one was speaking, the growling of my stomach became clearly audible. I quickly coughed twice to cover it up. David's voice was cold. If you're done, let's go cook. The bullet comments were full of laughter. Hey, that person who said they would never ship them, don't run away. I declare that David has already unilaterally shipped himself. Don't try to steal the spotlight anymore. Amy is hungry, and David is in a hurry to cook. Damn, is he going to be this doting? I'm so sweetened to death. Have you noticed? David's eyes haven't left Amy the whole time. If eyes could spin silk, David could open a ramen shop. I don't care if you ship the couple with the couple avatars or not, but the sugar is right in front of me, and I'm starting to get addicted. Are you out of your mind? Can you stop randomly shipping CPs? This cooking might just be a coincidence. You guys really have a big imagination. Why do you meddle in everything? Do you even care if I ship CPs or not? Are you going to date me? You're so nosy. Would you taste the saltiness of 2 manure trucks passing by the door? Since there were so many guests and not enough people to cook, the program team forced me, the mascot, to join in and asked me if I had any special dishes. During our relationship, David always cooked various dishes for me. After we broke up, I had been eating in the cafeteria. How could I know any special dishes? The only things I could do were cutting my fingers and overspending. But the camera was already on me, so I could only answer seriously. I'm excellent at boiling plain water. Does that count? The host and the guests all tried to hold back their laughter, and I lowered my head in embarrassment. Fortunately, David was cutting vegetables over there, and everyone's attention was drawn to him. Sophia's eyes were bright. David, the vegetables you cut are so beautiful. Your knife skills are so good. Have you practiced specially? David's eyes lingered on me for a second. Yeah, someone only likes to eat meat and hates vegetables. To coax her to eat more, I practiced specially. Sophia smiled shyly. David, you're really considerate. Add some coriander. It will enhance the flavor. David said coldly that he wouldn't add it. She doesn't like it. The bullet comments were flooding the screen. David can cook. It's like dancing on my heart. KSWL. Who can explain to me who the lucky girl David mentioned is? I'm going to be extremely jealous. David was looking in Amy's direction when he spoke. Could the person he mentioned be Amy? Are we really going to have a commoner baby-in-law? The person must be Sophia. Didn't you see that Sophia has been responding to David all the time? Sophia and David are a perfect match. Amy is just a commoner. How could she be so lucky? Speechless. Even I, a passerby, can see that David doesn't want to talk to Sophia anymore. How can you guys ship them? When it was time to eat, David directly placed the dishes he cooked in front of me. Although my dislike for green leafy vegetables had been engraved in my bones, David's cooking skills were really good. He could always make ordinary dishes taste amazing. And since I hadn't eaten his cooking for a long time, I really missed the taste, so I couldn't help but take a few more bites. David smiled. Baby, you're great. Eat more. My hand holding the chopsticks froze in midair. David paused. Sorry, it's a habit. The blurted out baby, you're great, was a sentence David often said to encourage me to eat more vegetables when we were together. At that time, he almost repeated this sentence 1 or 2 times during every meal. I was so engrossed in the memories that I forgot to swallow and was choked hard. Baby, drink some water. David walked towards me across the crowd. I took the water cup and took 2 sips, then handed the cup back to David, motioning for him to put it back. The actions were smooth, as if it was muscle memory, without thinking at all. Everyone at the table stared blankly at David and me. When I realized it, I quickly lowered my head and started eating. The bullet comments were flooding the screen. Ah, David has always been a cold and noble young master. When did he start serving tea and water? Why does David turn into a worthless puppy as soon as he meets Amy? I'm so sweetened to death. David and Amy are clearly the farthest apart, but as soon as Amy coughed, David immediately rushed over. Muscle memory doesn't lie. These two are so proficient in their intimate actions. They must have at least kissed before. I don't care. They're definitely a couple. Maybe David is just taking care of a commoner. You guys just like to overthink. The Sophia, David couple is the real deal, a perfect match in looks and a heaven-made couple, okay? Not long after the program team had a break, to match the theme of their emotional slow-paced variety show, they organized a bonfire night talk with the theme of making peace with the Ek. But in my eyes, these words were like, please come and die quickly. I couldn't help but take a deep breath and didn't even dare to raise my head, for fear of accidentally making eye contact with David. Since this topic was quite bold and with the boost of David, the popularity of the show was unprecedentedly high. Many passers-by who usually don't watch variety shows also moved stools and sat down to wait for the gossip. Some artists who wanted to increase their exposure actively started talking about their love-hate relationships with their exes, and the atmosphere immediately became lively. When it was Sophia's turn, she smiled shyly. I don't have an ex-boyfriend, only a beloved one. After saying that, she looked at David. The bullet comments immediately triggered a climax, and Sophia bravely confesses her love filled the screen. During this period, a few discordant bullet comments appeared sporadically. Your Sophia is probably the only one in love, right? Have you seen David respond to her? To be honest, I think Sophia likes to ride on David's coattails. She has been riding on David's popularity since the movie was released. After Sophia finished speaking, the host suddenly changed the subject and looked at me, who was sitting on the edge and seriously being a mascot. Miss Amy is so beautiful. You must have been in love before. How do you view your ex-boyfriend? Oh no, the thing I feared the most had finally come. David surely wouldn't want others to know about our relationship. My palms were sweating, but I forced myself to remain calm on the surface and gave a very official answer. He's my role model. David chuckled softly. Then baby, when are you going to take your role model out of the blacklist? He's almost getting moldy there. I was stunned. Did he still remember this was a live broadcast? He was blabbing everything out. The host, the guests, and even the director all looked shocked. David shrugged and said, Don't be so serious. I'm just speaking up for baby's ex-boyfriend. Only then did the host heave a slight sigh of relief and gave a dry laugh. Our David is really compassionate. The bullet comments on the live stream went wild. I kind of feel like that ex-boyfriend is David himself. You're not alone in thinking that, upstairs. Come on, these two either clarify their relationship or get married right away. David looks like an abandoned puppy, wanting Amy to hug and kiss him. If you say more, it can't be broadcast. How could it be true? Use your brain, okay? A top-tier star like David, how could he have been dumped by an ordinary-looking commoner like Amy? Does she even deserve it? I'm already obsessed with their relationship. In my opinion, they're definitely a couple. I'll raise the flag for the reunion CP. Let's see who dares to oppose them. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, the host forcefully changed the topic. In the chaos, in a corner where the camera couldn't reach, Sophia gave me a vicious glare. I immediately glared back. Since the start of the show until now, I hadn't had much contact with Sophia and had never provoked her. But I could feel her hostility towards me growing deeper. At first, I didn't want to care and just wanted to record the show well and earn a lot of money. But now, she was actually showing her hostility blatantly and even glared at me. Amy, wasn't someone who could be intimidated. Because the conversation between David and me during the bonfire night talk was so hot, it directly hit the hot search that night and remained at the top for several days. In the following days, I noticed that I had more screen time. During the game of catching shrimp by the seaside, the director even directly grouped David and me together. This game required participants to form pairs and catch shrimp under the guidance of local fishermen. The group that caught the most shrimp could have dinner first at night, while the others could only eat after the top-ranking groups had finished. The show always claimed that this was to exercise our learning ability and execution ability. I'm allergic to seafood and dared not touch fish and shrimp, so I could only pick up shells on the beach. David, as if awakening some special power, didn't care about his image at all. He put on his big shorts, rushed forward, and went all out, turning into the shrimp-catching king and contributing countless funny emojis. In no time, he took a huge lead and became the first. The bullet comments were filled with laughter. Welcome to watch the new film Charge Ahead starring David, also known as PAW Patrol Saves the Day. Am I catching shrimp, David? I'm catching my wife's heart. You guys are laughing at me. Do you have a partner? David is truly and genuinely happy when he's with Amy. He's so happy that he's almost regressing. Standing in front of us now is the straightforward love struck David. David was engaged in a battle of wits with the shrimp in front, and I couldn't help but giggle as I followed behind. For the past few years, I've been like a silent observer lurking in the shadows, keeping a close eye on everything about him. The media has crafted an image of him as a mature, cold, and unapproachable figure. Labels like temperamental and keep your distance plastered all over his news. Every time I saw candid photos of him in private, that stoic face made it seem like nothing in the world could touch his heart. And there were barely any traces of his life on social media. I couldn't help but wonder if the passionate guy I once knew was truly gone forever. But right now, as I watch him running towards me, holding a shrimp basket like an excited kid, his face beaming with a proud smile, I realize that the impulsive head-on charging little wolf dog in him has never changed. I'm so drawn to him that I don't notice the danger under my feet. Suddenly, I step on a piece of broken glass on the beach. A sharp pain shoots through my foot instantly. When I look down, there's a long, shocking trail of blood on the sand. David's smile freezes the moment he sees the blood. His face turns deathly pale, and his eyes are filled with deep concern. Before I can even say a word, he quickly scoops me up in his arms, his movements skilled and strong. I instinctively wrap my arms tightly around his neck. With all the eyes around us making me feel like I'm under a spotlight, I can only bury my face in his shoulder. The familiar scent of his cologne wafts into my nose, and all the memories that were once locked away come flooding back. Back then, he would always wait for me under the street lamp. Every time we met, he'd magically pull out all kinds of little surprises from his pockets. Sometimes it was a freshly baked cupcake that would warm my stomach on a cold winter day. Sometimes it was a bunch of dewy tulips that would bring a touch of romance to our ordinary days. And sometimes it was a refreshing iced tea that would drive away my fatigue on a summer afternoon. His embrace was like a magical treasure box, always bringing me endless joy and warmth. Baby, you've lost so much weight. Haven't you been eating well? His voice is low and gentle. The vibration of his chest passes through the thin fabric of my clothes and onto my body. My heart starts pounding faster, as if I've been transported back to those innocent and wonderful times. His face is still as handsome as ever. Time seems to have been especially kind to him. He's shed the childishness of the past and now exudes an even more irresistible charm of a mature man. However, the harsh reality also reminds me that we've broken up. All those beautiful memories can only be a thing of the past now. I still remember that snowy night. Under the influence of alcohol, I said a lot of hurtful words without thinking. His eyes were red-rimmed, and he tried to hug me again and again, but I mercilessly dodged him every time. Finally, he asked in a sobbing voice, "Baby, do you really not want me anymore?" I hardened my heart and replied, "Yes, I don't." He took a deep breath and said in a fit of pique, "Fine, let's break up. Whoever turns back is a loser." Now, he carries me all the way back to the room, with the cameraman closely following behind. The live stream bullet comments are already flooded with the screams and blessings of fans. So sweet. This is blatant favoritism. David is usually so cold, but as soon as he's with Amy, he turns into a loyal puppy. Back in the room, he gently places me on the bed and then quickly rummages through the medicine cabinet to take out medical disinfectant alcohol. "Baby, let's clean the wound first," he says, about to unscrew the bottle cap. I quickly stop him. "I can do it myself. You can go." After he leaves, I'm just about to deal with the wound with a band-aid when suddenly, I hear his voice from behind. "Baby, you're still as stubborn as ever." He walks up to me, kneels down on one knee, and carefully holds my ankle. Then he unscrews the alcohol bottle cap again. "It won't hurt, baby," he whispers softly to comfort me. I blurt out, "Liar, you said the same thing last time." His eyes flicker slightly, and I immediately remember that it was 4 years ago. At that time, I fainted due to hypoglycemia and fell, getting hurt all over. He was also holding alcohol then, promising me that it wouldn't hurt. But as soon as the alcohol touched the wound, the pain was so intense that I almost jumped up. Seeing that, he suddenly leaned in and gave me a gentle kiss on the lips. At that moment, the pain seemed to really disappear. Caught up in a flood of memories, I'm a bit dazed. When I come to my senses, he has already skillfully treated my wound and thoughtfully put a piece of chocolate in my mouth. There are still chocolates in his pocket, always ready for me. After all these years, he's still the one who takes such good care of me. At this time, the laughter and voices of other guests come from outside. The game is already over, and everyone has returned to the courtyard. David's shrimp basket is brought back, but it's empty. According to the rules, we have to wait until everyone else finishes eating before we can have our meal. David looks around the kitchen, and when he finds there are no dishes I like, he turns around and goes out to buy some. I'm sitting at the dining table, idly flipping through the old photos on my phone. When David was younger, he still had a bit of baby fat, looking soft and cute. Now, his features are more defined, exuding an irresistible air of abstinence. Just then, Sophia comes over. With a sweet smile on her face, she says, "Amy, could you peel a shrimp for me? I hurt my finger." I politely decline, "Sorry, I'm allergic to seafood." But she persists, "Just peel it, not eat it. It should be okay, right?" Sensing her ill intent, my tone becomes firm. I said no. The male idol next to her can't stand it and wants to help, but she gives him a glare. She walks straight up to me and forcefully shoves the shrimp into my hand. "See, it's okay. Don't be so fussy. You're just an ordinary girl. What do you have to compare with me?" The anger in my heart flares up instantly. Just as I'm about to explode, she catches a glimpse of the photo of David on my phone and sneers. "You two really dated? If you don't like him, why keep the photo?" Her words are like a sharp blade, cutting through my last bit of self-control in an instant. I shout at the top of my voice. "Who says I don't like him? I like him so much. I think about him every day and dream about him every night." Sophia is startled by my reaction and raises her voice. "What right do you have to like him?" In a fit of rage, I directly stuff the shrimp into her mouth. "Get out." Just then, David comes back with the groceries. When he sees this scene, his face instantly darkens. Sophia quickly explains, "David, you misunderstood. We were just kidding around." David takes out his phone and plays a video. In the video, Sophia is secretly emptying the shrimp from his basket. Sophia's face turns deathly pale. She pleads, "David, I was wrong. Can you help me explain that it was just a joke?" David says coldly, "I could have, but not now. The person you should apologize to the most isn't me." Sophia has no choice but to apologize to me and then hurries away. David walks up to me and gently wipes the shrimp juice off my hand. His eyes are full of tenderness and concern, as if the unpleasant incident just now never happened. In the following days, Sophia absents herself from all the activities on the pretext of being sick. The relationship between David and me is also quietly changing. At the last night talk event of the program group, the atmosphere is especially warm. But David seems absent-minded. He keeps losing in the games and drinks a lot. After downing the last glass of wine, his cheeks turn rosy, and his eyes become blurred. He suddenly leans his head on my shoulder, and his arm naturally wraps around my waist. In a drunken voice he says, "Baby, I have so many secrets to tell you. I'm a bit flustered. Let go of me first." This is still a live stream. But he hugs me even tighter, and his furry head rubs against me. "Baby, I came to this show for you. I've been missing you like crazy." My heart skips a beat, and I ask softly, "Did you hear that argument between me and Sophia?" He nods obediently. "Baby, you don't know how happy I was then. That was the happiest day since you left." He looks up, his eyes full of deep affection and anticipation. "But I'm so scared. I'm afraid you said those things just to piss her off." As he speaks, he gently strokes my hair. "Amy, I really love you so much." The bullet comments are instantly filled with the screams and blessings of fans. "Get together. Get together. The marriage registration office is here. Please get married right away." Looking at him, my heart is filled with mixed emotions. I deliberately tease him, "You guessed right. I said those things to piss her off." His eyes instantly turn red, and his hand slowly loosens, but his tone remains firm. It doesn't matter. I can chase you again. I've already prepared a plan to win you back. The moonlight shines on his face, outlining his perfect features. Looking at him, my defenses completely crumble. David, I like you too. Let's start over. His eyes light up instantly, and like an excited child, he pulls me and rushes towards the crowd. Everyone, listen up. This is my girlfriend, Amy. He even goes around asking others, do you have a girlfriend? No. I do. My girlfriend is amazing. Standing beside him, I'm both shy and anxious. I whisper, let's go back quickly. If you keep this up, your idol image will be completely gone. But he doesn't care at all. I don't care. I just want you to be happy, baby. The next day, the first thing David does when he wakes up is to announce our relationship on social media. The caption reads, loving her is a habit deeply rooted in my bones and can never be erased. In an instant, it trends on the top search. Fans send their blessings one after another, while Sophia is once again pushed to the center of public attention and becomes the hot topic among netizens. The professor calls me late at night when he hears the news. I knew you two couldn't break up. When you were about to break up, I said David was sincere. Looking back on those busy and confused days, I was burning the midnight oil to prepare my thesis, and David was also struggling hard in his rising career. Even so, he still found time to take care of me. He would cook pasta for me and pick me up after class. But because of the heavy pressure, I often lost my temper at him and even proposed to break up. His panic and reluctance at that time are still vivid in my mind. After the breakup, he often went to the professor to ask about my situation. When he was drunk, he would hold the professor's hand and cry, "What should I do to get her back?" Later, I accidentally saw the plan he made to chase me. On the cover it was written, "When I met you, love surged, and everything in the world seemed romantic and exciting." When I opened it, every page was filled with my name. Those dense words were all his yearning and love for me. My eyes are blurred with tears, and my heart is filled with both touch and guilt. Just as I'm immersed in the memories, I hear David's voice outside the bathroom door. "Baby, it's so boring for you to take a bath alone. Can I join you?" I'm both annoyed and amused. Stop kidding. But he has already opened the door, with a mischievous smile on his face. It's still early. Let's have a good chat.